Gervonta Tank Davis, flat out accused of doing something very underhanded ahead of the Frank Martin fight that he has coming up in June. And it's mighty ironic who it's coming from, because it seems to me that whenever one person's accused of something and then that person denies it, that fans of that fighter turn around and blame somebody else for the exact same thing and do the exact same thing that they criticized before. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. Gervonta Tank Davis has faced some pretty stiff accusations right on the back of some very, very serious insults. And it is amazing to me how many of the same people will just say whatever they need to say to make certain fighters look bad. Now, if a fighter's making himself look bad on their own volition, I don't have a problem with it. There's a lot of suspect stuff that goes on in boxing. Enough suspect stuff that we don't need to make assumptions about them. We do not need to manufacture them. We do not need to exaggerate them. But happens on a regular basis to certain fighters, namely fighters from the PBC and most significantly, Gervonta Davis. Now, this time, because Gervonta Davis put a video out of him working out, and let me say, to put it very mildly, look extremely, extremely in shape. Looked like he had very low body fat, very high muscle content, just absolutely ripped. This in contrast to what he looked like in a picture that was released by Calvin Ford when he had a very big shirt on and he looked emaciated. Now, before I get into the details of what the accusation is, even though I think you already know what it is by now, I want to welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much, my guy, Jay Miltz. Thank you, sir, Matty O. You guys, you two dudes, number one and number two, biggest supporters in the Cash App. Thank you, man. Thank you. Shout out to Jay Miller as well. And Barbara D, always Barbara D, Aisha, and all the ladies in the crew. Maria, thank you so much. Nicole, thank you so much for your support. You guys are stalwarts on the channel, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you. But let's get into this. Now, Gervonta Davis, now that he shows this picture of himself looking like, you know, he's in tremendous shape, is being flat out accused of juicing. This right on the tail end of being accused of being drained not 2 days before this. The picture of Gervonta Davis, if you've not seen it, or the video of Gervonta Davis working out on a football field, it's pretty, I mean, he looks like, man, I wouldn't want to fight that guy. Seems as if he is absolutely positively ready to fight like tomorrow. The weight came in for him before the training camp even started at 138 pounds. And so what Gervonta Davis looks like he's doing is being very, very disciplined. Leonard Ellerbe himself has said, look, man, this is a different Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is not doing what he did earlier in his career, when he would allow himself to blow up in weight in between fights, and he would essentially have to have a fat camp. Gervonta is totally dedicated himself to his sport. And he's in 100% shape, and that's what you can expect. And he said this while saying that Gervonta Davis could actually, if he wanted to, still make 130 pounds. Something that I've always said, because he's not that big a guy. Now, about 3 days ago, Coach Calvin Ford on his Instagram feed put out a picture of Gervonta where Gervonta was wearing a very big baggy shirt. And when you looked at the shirt, you saw the shirt you couldn't see any of his chest. You couldn't see his arms. He had very long shorts that pretty much came down to his knees. And people were saying in videos and tweets and all of that, oh man, this guy looks drained. He looks like he's in bad shape. Gervonta looks like a CRACK head, all kind of stuff like that coming out. And right. So it was like, man, what's wrong with Gervonta? So then Gervonta puts this out where you can actually see his chest. You can see his arms. You can see his legs, even the short, because he must have been sprinting or something. So he had shorts that were a little bit higher on his thigh. So you could see his quadriceps and how ripped but yet muscular his quadriceps are. Now, also he's flexing. So, that's going to show you all the definition of in his muscles. Now people saying the man is juicing. Man, pick one. Does he look bad or does he look good? Right? If he looks bad, then there's something, then, hey, man, if he looks like he's thin, then that's something bad. But if he looks like, oh, hey, man, let's correct that. He doesn't look so thin. He actually looks quite healthy and ready to go. Oh, it must be some type of performance enhancements that he's on to do that. Now, the funny thing is for me is that whenever somebody brings up fighters being on performance enhancers on my channel, whether they say it about Devin Haney because he's with Snack and because he gained 25 pounds after a weigh-in at 140 pounds, between 23 and 24 pounds, and, for after his weigh-in at 135 pounds. And people say, well, he's a Snack athlete. He's Snack strong. He's with Victor Conte. He's, that means that he's, on enhancements. I say, look, man, no, that isn't what that means. You got to give people the grace. You have to give people grace to actually test positive, because there are people that you don't suspect at all that wind up popping dirty. Take, for example, Alyssa Bumgardner. I don't think anybody was out there thinking that she was on something because of how she looked until she popped. Right now, she wound up getting off, and, for whatever reason, so it's not an actual violation, but once she tested positive, it was reasonable for people to say, hey, she was using performance enhancements. That's not the case with Terrence Crawford, who was with Snack and Victor Conte. It's not the case with Devin Haney, who was with Victor Conte and Snack. But see, even those guys, if you look at them, you say, well, hey, man, they are with Victor Conte. Victor Conte has a history of that. Hey, man, it makes me a little bit suspicious. I'm okay with a little bit of suspicion because, honestly, you should be suspicious of anybody in professional sports, period, about that, because the use of it is just so rampant. But it's not conclusive, and it's not something where you can just throw that out there. Now, and nor do I think you should just throw that out there, because it's really unfair to the person if he's not. There are some people, they're professional athletes, and a lot of times, I'm sure there are professional athletes that are not using them, and they could be accused of it because they're excellent athletes. In the case of Gervonta Davis, he should be extended the same. He did not pop dirty for anything. This mud that continues to get put on his name, whether it's him being called a duck or him not fighting, not wanting to fight this guy or not wanting to fight that guy, whether or not he's never had a championship before, stories, a bunch of makeup garbage about him being the mandatory for Devin Haney and how he could have exercised his rematch clause for the WBA belt when, and how he was elevated and how him not elevated means he doesn't have a man. All these things that just keep coming up, man. Just ridiculous, man. I just get a dude a break. Enjoy the guy when he's fighting. It's terrific fights, highly exciting fights, and that's why the young man is so successful. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.